Glory to the Empire. Glory to the Theonites. We're getting into the Sword of Kaigen. This will have spoilers for the whole book, including the ending, so if you're watching this, you'll want to have read the book or not care about spoilers. When I saw this going around on social media, I was interested from a style perspective, from a plot perspective, but what I really wanted was Misaki. Misaki is a mom. She told herself she left the passions of her youth behind when she married into the Matsuda house. I wanted to read a fantasy book about a mom. I love her. There's a lot of ways that I felt like I identified with her. Around the same age, being a wife, a mom, only having sons, feeling like she stopped doing some of the things she cared about when she started doing the mom thing. Been married 15 years? I think that's right. She's been married about 15 years. I've been married between 15 and 16 years to my lovely husband. I don't perfectly identify with her. I wanted to marry my husband and I wanted my sons. I looked forward to having both of them. At the point of life that I'm in right now, which is being a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling my children, those are things that I wanted. For Misaki, none of what is her life right now was her choice. She didn't get to decide who she married, whether she wanted children or not, whether those children are boys or girls or healthy or how powerful they are. Although I'm sure she expected them to be powerful with the bloodlines that came together. If she had had the choice, she would have chosen Robin. She would have chosen to marry the person she wanted rather than following her duty. I say if she could have chosen. She was given the choice. Tusama told her, you can go marry Robin if you want. You may go off with him, but he was very clear what the consequences of that would be. So in that case, does she really still have a choice? Yes, she did. And she has spent a long time regretting that choice, wondering how maybe things could have been different, and never embracing what she has now. Even at the point where this book starts, where she has a teenage son clear down to an infant son, she has always had the choice to embrace the life that she has, the children that she has. She could have tried to make an effort to get to know her husband better. I think that comes down to the fact that she didn't purposefully choose him and he was always cold to her, and so why make an effort and why bother trying when it's not what she wanted? She feels like she's obviously not what he wants, so she's just gonna live a life of sadness and regret. And oh boy, that feels really familiar for real life, doesn't it? Never got what I wanted, so instead of embracing what I have, I'm just gonna be sad about what I didn't get. I feel like that's pretty relatable. I would also like to bring attention to Misaki's father. I almost feel like he was, I don't know, not cruel, but not kind. They are a traditional family. Misaki is being raised to go marry into a powerful family and bear powerful children. That is her purpose in life. And so by giving her that freedom when she was younger, allowing her to have those experiences, and then marrying her to Takaru and just saying, sorry, that was part of your life, you don't get to do that anymore, like snatching the freedom away, he probably felt like he was giving her a gift by letting her have some freedom when she was younger, but it was like giving her a taste of something that she's never gonna get again. I don't know. Her parents probably could have done better. And then with Takaru, once they are married and their relationship never progresses, this is as much Takaru's fault as Misaki's. We are seeing the story from Misaki's point of view, but later we learn some really disturbing things about Takaru and his childhood. He has been living in this state of either fear or emotionlessness, and the fear kind of leads to the emotionless state because he goes and feeds his negative emotions into the mountain or whatever. But he is living from his trauma. He's not treating his wife based on who Misaki is. He's treating his wife based on what he has witnessed between his own parents. He watched his mother suffer. He watched his parents fight. He was abused by his father, and he has no idea how to be a husband. There was no good example. There was no one to teach him, and so he just holds back. He doesn't know what to do, so he doesn't try. He knows how to fight. He knows how to face an enemy. He knows how to do all his number crunching clerk stuff, whatever. But when it comes to a relationship with his wife or his children, he doesn't know. And so the frostiness between husband and wife just continues to grow. He's not able to offer any comfort to Misaki through losing children, which, by the way, I hated. Since we're talking spoilers, the book was almost ruined for me by some of those things that were triggering for a woman, for a mom. I still read it though. I still wanted to see how it ended. And Misaki finds herself in a place where she is regretting the coldness, the distance. She doesn't know how to fix things with her husband. And she wishes that she hadn't let things get so distant with her children. Mamoru, I think, is 14 at the beginning. And Misaki's just like, who is this person that's growing into a man? Why did I never spend the time to get to know him before this? And I think probably she was just seeing those children as extensions of Takaru, rather than each child being their own person for her to love and to get to know. And I know that there are women like Misaki who did not feel love for their babies at first. And Misaki had so much regret. She blames herself. She feels like it was her own fault. Through this book, she's often calling herself dark, selfish. She even calls herself evil. She puts a lot of blame on herself that isn't all her own fault. Some of it is, and so she thinks all of it is. Not automatically loving her children is not her fault, but letting distance grow up between her and her children. I feel, as a parent, that a relationship between a parent and child is the parent's responsibility, not the child's responsibility. And so Misaki does not blame her children. She recognizes that it's not them, but instead of embracing all the guilt she feels for it, it is much better for her to try to move forward. And she does. She does by the end. She starts to embrace the children that she does have, and she can't go back. She can't get Mamoru back. She can't go back to, I don't remember his name, her second child. What's the second baby's name? Hiroshi. She can't go back and restart her relationship with Hiroshi, but by the end, she's trying to move forward from where she is. And I will applaud her for that. I really hate all the trauma in this book. I don't like reading dark books. I hated that Mamoru died. I hated it in general, just I don't like character deaths, especially main characters, especially children. And it was just like extra terrible that it was right when Misaki was starting to build a relationship with him. That's part of what I hate about the grimdark books and why I don't often read them, is they're just full of trauma. Full of it. Just filmed a video about comfort reading. Grimdark will never be comfort reads for me. Oh, and then we get her flashbacks. We see some of her relationship with Robin from years ago. She promises him not to kill indiscriminately, but she does say that she will kill in defense of people she loves. Misaki and Robin have different lines that they are drawing. Robin, no kill. Misaki, kill to protect people I love. And I am sure when Misaki said that, she expected that when she killed in defense of someone she loved, it would probably be Robin or Aline, however you pronounce that. And I find it kind of poetic that she drew that line for herself, and when she actually does get to the point where she has to kill to protect her loved ones, it's her children. The ones that she wishes she had loved from the beginning, and now they are the ones she is using her sword to protect. And she was willing to attack her children's father to protect her children. She made the decision, it was gonna happen, and I thought it was a little humorous that later on in the book, she does attack him, but for a very different reason this time. Both Misaki and Takaru are trained fighters. Weirdly, Misaki probably has more real life experience, although Takaru was able to go farther with his training. Anyway, both being trained fighters, the way to get to like break down each other's barriers to finally get close to each other, they had to fight each other. It worked. She uses all her skill. She's not in shape. She hasn't fought in a long time. She keeps thinking things like, I'm too old for this. I'm not as flexible as I used to be. And it takes everything she has to defend her family. And then little Hiroshi is the one who saves her. More trauma. Misaki, as the mom, feels like she has failed. She has failed Hiroshi. She should have protected him. She should have never put him in the situation where he had to do that at his age. As he gets older and starts training to be a warrior, he can probably use that as bragging rights, but he shouldn't have it in his past to cause him more trauma. Stupid trauma. This book has a lot of pain and regret. Their whole world gets shattered. There's a lot of the book spending time rebuilding. If you watched my review, I thought it was weird how the main crescendo of the book happens in the middle. The main conflict happens in the middle, and the rest is building, repairing relationships, their town, where do we go from here? Okay, the fight happened, now what? And there is a lot to rebuild. The town, Misaki must rebuild herself, her marriage, and then in that second half, after that big battle, there are a lot of themes along the lines of redemption and acceptance. And while it felt weird pacing-wise and story-wise, I think it was good to spend the time on it. A little more realistic, maybe? Because after some huge life-shattering, life-altering thing, life doesn't just end. For the ones who live, they have to figure out how to go on. And both parents, Takaru and Misaki, are determined to protect their family. But instead of each of them trying to do it separately, they're now a team. They don't really know how to work together. They don't have a lot of practice working together, but they're both going to make the effort. That's all they can do for now. The beginning of this book has what's almost like a warning. It's a fictional universe that has been discontinued until further notice. Okay, while understanding that ML Wang wants the freedom to have this be a standalone or continue, I would be open to a next book, but I think it would be really interesting to have it set a decade or more into the future. And instead of focusing on the generation that we were here with Misaki and Takaru and all of them, having more of a focus on those children that got stolen at the age where they are training to do whatever it is that they're going to be doing. And it would be really interesting to follow a very powerful teenage Hiroshi as he goes off to the boarding school that Misaki had been to, and maybe the Wind Child, I don't remember her name, and kind of seeing what those are up to later on. Because though the main conflict of this story, well, the main battle, whatever, they had their battle on the Sword of Kaigen, there is bigger world stuff happening that doesn't get wrapped up here. And I don't think that's going to be a short-term thing. I think it's going to take some time to get there. And I would be interested in reading what's next. So what else do you have to add? What'd you love? What'd you hate? Let me know. Happy reading. Bye.